Hello everybody, today we are going to be talking about the 25 books I want to read in 2025, but before we get to that, let's talk about the 24 books that I planned on reading in 2024. Now, I never actually ended up uploading a video for the 24 books I wanted to read in 2024 last year because I filmed it, I hated how it turned out, and I gave up on it. But I did keep a list on my phone of the 24 books I planned on reading, and I just kept track of them so that we could discuss it at the end of the year, which is now. So there were 13 books I did read from this list. 11 I sadly did not get to. The ones I didn't get to were What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez, Crescent City, Renegades, Six of Crows, Tressa of the Emerald Sea, Project Hail Mary, Daughter of No Worlds, Five Broken Blades, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, The Reappearance of Rachel Price, and The Last Murder at the End of the World. There were a multitude of reasons I didn't get to these books, but we won't get into that. I just didn't get to them, okay. But the ones I did get to were Once Upon a Broken Heart, Powerless, The Familiar, Cascade Failure, Ocean Worlds, My Name is Barbara, Swordcatcher, Your Utopia, Magnolia Parks, A Fragile Enchantment, The Brothers Hawthorne, Shark Heart, Ruthless Vows, and The Fury. So overall, I got like 50%, which is not great. So for 2025, I am aiming way higher. I'm wanting to obviously get 100%. So the books I put on my 2025 TBR, it's way more realistic than my 2024 one. So let's begin, shall we? We have 18 books that I currently own that are in my actual physical TBR that I'm going to be talking about, and then 7 books that I do not currently own. So I think we're going to talk about the ones I don't own yet first, and then we will get into the ones I do own. We're not going to go into detail about what these books are actually about. I will give you the general idea of them if I even know what the general idea is. I just want to share these with you so that I can be held accountable. The first one we have is Mockingjay by Suzanne Collins. It is very reasonable to me that I could get this done in 2025. This is just the 3rd book in the Hunger Games trilogy. It is the one with the blue cover, and I'm excited to read it. Then we had Begging Baby by Ansley B. Calloway. I read her 2 other books in this series called Picking Peaches and Following Fox. One of my favorite romance series ever. It's just so much fun, and I didn't even know there was a 3rd book until I found it on Amazon a couple days ago, and I just was like, I am immediately adding that to my 25 books in 2025 TBR. I have to read that. And then we have Space Brooms by A.G. Rodriguez. This is coming out on March 25th of next year. This one I think is just like a really fun space romp, if you will. The synopsis of it reminds me a little bit of Cascade Failure, which I read this year, and it's just like a fun, weird group of people who are just going on some sort of crazy adventure. And I thought this one looked really good, and I'm excited to read it. Next we had Blood in the Water. This is by Tiffany D. Jackson, who is one of my favorite authors. This is actually a middle grade that is coming out on July 1st, but I would read literally anything by this author, and I think this one's gonna be more of like a mystery thriller kind of deal. I think I'm still gonna really like it, even though it's middle grade. Next we have Sounds Like Love by Ashley Poston. This is coming out June 17th. I've read 2 books by Ashley Poston so far, and both of them were 5 stars. And this one is about music, which is like my favorite thing ever. So I'm so excited. I already have it pre-ordered and everything. Then we have Fearless by Lauren Roberts coming out April 8th. This is book number 3, the final book in the Powerless trilogy. I am actually currently reading Reckless that's book number 2 in this series, and I'm loving it. I had to put this book onto this list. And then the final book for the ones that I do not yet own is Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros, coming out January 21st. This is the 3rd book in the whole Fourth Wing series. I think it's called the Empyrean series. So excited for this one. This is probably the one I'm most excited for out of all the books on this list. Fourth Wing is just so incredible to me. It will have a place in my heart forever and always. I love it. Even when people don't love it, I'm just like, you don't have to love it, but I do. I'm so excited for this 3rd book. Okay, those are all the books I do not yet own. Let me go gather up the books I do own so that I can show you them, because it's just fun to hold up an actual physical book. So I'm gonna go gather those and then I will be right back. I'm back with my book selections. I'm so excited to share these with you. Okay, number one of the most important ones on this list, truly, which is why it is number one, is Crescent City by Sarah J Maas. Look at this cover. It is so cool. That is what the spine looks like, and the back just looks like that. These are the Barnes & Noble special editions. Okay, enough of talking about the cover. This one was on my 24 to read in 2024 list. Obviously, I didn't get to that, and that's because I did a reread of the ACOTAR series, and I read for the first time and am currently in a reread of the Throne of Glass series right there. And so I just wanted to get through my rereads before I started this one, because you were supposed to read ACOTAR first and then Throne of Glass and then Crescent City. So that's just why I didn't get to this one, but I am like halfway through the Throne of Glass series right now. I plan on finishing up within the next couple of months, so this one will 100% be read in this next year. Next is An Ember and the Ashes. This is by Sabaa Tahir. I love these new covers so much. I also love the old covers, but anyways. This one is the start of a new series. I don't really know what it's about. It just says Leia is a slave, Elias is a soldier, neither is free. That's all I know. I kind of don't want to know anything else because I like to go into fantasy series knowing nothing. But I did get a book up there called Air, and it's also by the same author, and it is set in the same world, but it takes place after An Ember in the Ashes. And I just really want to read this one first so that I can get like the full experience. Then we have Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. This is just to continue my journey in the Cosmere, which is one of Brandon Sanderson's like universes. I read the first Mistborn trilogy, and this is next on the list. So here she is, just like a fun little standalone. We have a couple of classics on here. I do think I will 100% get to these classics because I got to like, I think 4 or 5 classics in 2024. So first one is Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. Don't you just feel fancy saying his name? Like, yeah, I read a Dostoevsky. But anyways, I think this is a story all about revenge. I love this edition that I have because it is so floppy. I've heard this is one of the best books ever written, so I'm so excited to get to this. I'll probably read it audibly because I don't know. I feel like that's the right way to read classics. And then we have 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. I haven't really heard anything about this one except for that I think it might have a little bit of magical realism in it. I think it is set in like Latin America. That's all I got. I don't know. I just am excited to get to it. One of my favorite YouTubers, it's one of her favorite books of all time, so that's why I wanted to read it. Next, we have The Stolen Heir by Holly Black. I have read The Cruel Prince. I've read her other series that I can't think of what it's called. I figured it's about time I pick up the spin-off of the Cruel Prince series. I always say The Cruel Prince on accident. This one just follows Jude's younger brother. People have mixed opinions on this, but I think I'm gonna love it. I tend to love most things I read, especially by Holly Black. I then have We Hunt the Flame by Hafsa Faizal. This one I have owned for so long. It's just been sitting on my shelves for years at this point, and it says people lived because she killed, people died because he lived. I think this one's like an enemies to lovers kind of deal. Everything about this has always sounded so amazing to me, and I love the covers of these books. I don't know if that ever focused, but this is just a duology. So I also own the second book to the series, so hopefully I'll just get to all of it this year. And then we have The Jasad Heir. This is by Sarah Hashem. Love this cover as well. I've also had this one for a very long time. It says, an unmissable tale of shattered kingdoms, forbidden magic, and cunning royals unfolds in this Egyptian-inspired epic fantasy debut. And I have always been so fascinated with like ancient Egypt and everything. It's just always enamored me. And I picked this up because of that. And I also think this one's an enemies to lovers. I don't know why I haven't read this yet because I predict it's gonna be 5 stars. We are on to the next stack of books. So this one is a very new book that is getting a lot of attention recently, and that is Quicksilver by Callie Hart. I read the back of this in the bookstore and I thought it sounded so awesome. It was like this girl that accidentally kind of like falls into the Fae world, and it says, do not touch the sword, do not turn the key, do not open the gate, whatever that means. Oh wow, it's really bright right now. I have to just sit back a little bit so it focuses again. This is what the cover looks like, and I just don't know how I feel about that. Wow, it is so bright. I'm so sorry for the exposure. One of these days I'm gonna get a camera that's great and not terrible quality like this one, but who knows when that will be. So we have the only nonfiction book that I put on this list, and that is Beautiful Boy. It has Timmy on it, which I love. This one is about a man whose son is addicted to meth. It is so heartbreaking and tragic and beautiful at the same time. I've watched this movie countless times. It's just so good. I really want to read this year, and I'm not yet prepared to have my heart shattered and then put back together again, but I will be at some point. This one was on my 24 books of 2024, and that is Six of Crows. Don't know why I haven't gotten to this, because I read Shadow and Bone last year. I read the trilogy just back to back to back, and I loved it. Every book in that trilogy was 5 stars for me. So I know this is gonna be at least 4.5 stars. So why have I not picked it up? I don't know. But we're gonna put this on this list again, and I'm gonna read it. I really wanna read it in January. This is kind of a random one, but I put The Book Thief on here. It's by Markus Zusak. And this one's an older one. It has been around for a long time. There was a movie made out of it. I think it's set during World War II. It is 1939, Nazi Germany. The country is holding its breath. Death has never been busier and will become busier still. I was really intrigued by this because everyone says it's just like incredible. And then I was flipping through, and it is written in such an interesting way. And like all the pages kind of look like that. I don't know. I just think I'm gonna love it. And then we have another book set around war, and that is Lovely War. This is by Julie Berry. This one got a little bit of traction this year. It says, in the perilous days of World Wars I and II, the gods held the fates and the hearts of 4 mortals in their hands. I know Ashlyn on YouTube loves this book. I know other people loved it too, but I can't remember who. This one is also a bit of fantasy because it is, I think it's told, oh gosh. Is it told in the perspective of gods and goddesses? It has to do with gods and goddesses. I don't know, but it just sounds very fascinating to me. And I think this is gonna break my heart into a million pieces, and I'm scared. Another book that's gonna break my heart into a million pieces is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I've also had this one for a long time. It just scares me because it deals with like divorce and just a broken relationship, and we all know how emotional I get about broken relationships. So I've been putting this off because I just haven't been in the headspace really to read this. I think I'll probably pick this up in spring or summer when I'm very happy so that it doesn't like depress me even more. Someone on the back said, a scorching novel about hope and healing and what it truly means to love for a lifetime. I'm scared. Next, we have the biggest book on the TBR that comes in at around 1,000 pages, and that is The Way of Kings by Brandon Sanderson. This is book 1 of the Stormlight Archive. The 5th book, I think, just came out this month in this series. Ooh, it's daunting. It's daunting, but I do think I will 100% get to this year because I'm just loving Brandon Sanderson, and I'm so excited to get to this. Everyone loves this like the most, so I truly cannot wait. Next, we have a book I know absolutely nothing about. I just know it is so stunning, and that is For She Is Wrath. This is by Emily Varga. It says, the whispers grew louder, like the stones themselves were speaking to me, like the earth had been cleaved in two and begun talking, and that one word rose again, above the rest, an incantation and warning all at once, revenge. It sounds good. Another revenge story. Let me show you the naked hardback. This is like what drew me in and made me want to read it. This is the naked hardback. Is that not like the most beautiful book you've ever seen? It also has like really cool end papers on the front and back. I'm just very, very excited to read this simply because it's so stunning. And I feel like a book this beautiful has to be as beautiful on the inside, right? We are down to the last 2 books on this list, everyone. Yeah, I still haven't gotten to this, and it's just staring at me. It stares at me every day on the shelf. It is my favorite cover of all time. I truly think this is just the most stunning cover I've ever seen in my entire life. This is Magnolia Park's The Long Way Home, which is the 3rd book in the Magnolia Park series. It is the 2nd book of Magnolia Parks. I'm not gonna, if you don't know what that means, I can't get into it right now. You have to look it up yourself. But anyways, I thought Magnolia Parks was very good. I thought the 2nd book, Daisy Hates, was just okay. I think I'm gonna really like this one just based on what everyone else says about it. I'm definitely a Magnolia Parks girly, and I just really need to get to this because I started this series way earlier in 2024, so I would just like to finish it out in 2025, but I'm not gonna say that. I'm just gonna say I will be reading this one. And the final book on my 25 books of 2025 is Malice by John Gwynne. This is the start of the Faithful and the Fallen series. I've never read anything by John Gwynne before, but I do have 6 of his books, right? Have yet to read any of them. I really, really wanted to read this one in December, but it just was, you know, not working out for me because I ended up reading Fire and Blood, which is what, it was just a really huge book and took up like a lot of my time. I mean, guys, right now it is still December 14th. I still have a half of a month left of December while I'm filming this. But still, I would just not get to this. So I'm gonna get to it next year. I pinky promise. It's just a high fantasy, I believe, just like super epic and awesome. And I'm so excited for this. I just know I'm going to love it with my whole heart. All right, guys, that is it. Those are the 25 books I plan to read in 2025. Please hold me accountable. I want to finish these books so badly. I just want to have a perfect record for my TBRs next year. Maybe not all of them, just my 2025 TBR. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.